I first want to assure the students this is not like a typical lecture or a class or a subject-based lecture. This is actually more a conversation to build in you an appetite for wonder. And that is the main purpose, so that you are curious, you ask questions. In a traditional education, you are required to answer questions. In this session, you have to ask questions. You don't have to know the answers, and you can find out the answers in due course. I've taken the future of biology as the theme for provoking this curiosity and desire to ask questions and the sense of wonder, because as Anita ma'am has said, this is now going to be the time for biology. You know, like in a theater, the spotlight shines on certain actors at certain points of time. The spotlight is on biology now. And if anybody has any doubts about it, you saw in the beginning of 2020, the term virus became a household word. And if virus is not a biological object, what else is? So this is where I want to sort of talk to you about. Let me give a little bit of things. Look at the date today. The date today is 24th February. And very soon, 4 days from now, we celebrate in India what is called Science Day. National Science Day is celebrated on 28th. And from time to time, there have been focus on the topic of the year for that Science Day. And clearly the topic this year ought to be biology, because that is what we are all talking about and facing it. And the Science Day is after the birthday of C.V. Raman, who got the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1930 for Raman effect, which is a very, very profound thing in terms of this field of physics. And it was a quantum phenomena. And it is not only that. See, in fact, Raman was a very great popularizer of science also. I'll encourage all students who are oriented towards Google and so on, please Google for the thing called Why the Sky is Blue. This is a beautiful lecture talk written by C.V. Raman and is all about how scattering happens and so on. And as you know, Raman got his Nobel Prize for creating Raman scattering. And let me also, apart from the physics part of it, tell you that Raman scattering has a huge application today in detecting all kinds of things, because most molecules have a characteristic vibrational frequency of theirs, and that can be seen by the Raman effect. And therefore, Raman effect is a very practical tool as well. Almost, if you remember the story of Archimedes, where the king had given a piece of gold for making a crown, and when the thing came, he was not sure whether the goldsmith has adulterated the gold with other things, and he asked Archimedes to find out whether this is pure gold without doing anything to it, with non-destructive thing. And Archimedes used the principle of the relative density of gold being such that it will show up in whatever measurement is done. Similarly, Raman spectroscopy is where you see a characteristic spectrum of a molecule, etc., and you can use it to detect whether it is there or not. Another interesting part is that just about a month back, we celebrated Republic Day. Although the Republic Day parade is more about the pomp and show of aircrafts and weaponry and so on, the Republic Day itself is about India adopting the Constitution. And the Indian Constitution is probably the only one in the world where there is a duty on all of us as citizens of the country, given under Directive Principles, Article 51A(h), to build a scientific temper, a spirit of inquiry, and reform. So I could say, in a sense, that this lecture is towards fulfilling the constitutional duty of building into you the spirit of inquiry, a scientific temper, and of course, as I said, the spirit of reform as well. So this is why it is very interesting and important and timely that we are talking about this. Now, you have seen that STEM is a very popular phrase nowadays used: science, technology, engineering, maths. This emphasizes the importance of current technology and engineering. In fact, some people have added to it art and called it STEAM, STEAM. But nowhere is biology explicitly stated. Now, you can say that in science, biology is also included, but you know that what they mean when they are talking of the science technology is really coding, computer thing, making apps, so on and so forth, as the very important thing. And that is getting a lot of attention. But it is biology which is more interesting. And I will tell you why biology did not receive so much attention, because it is probably the most complex subject. Most of the subjects are much simpler compared to biology. And I will begin with the story. Almost 350 years ago, you heard of Newton and the apple, and Newton having thought of gravity when the apple fell. And some people are also relating it to the pandemic, saying that that was done when there was a pandemic going on, and he was forced out of Cambridge to be in his home, and in his home he was under the tree, and then he saw the apple fall, and he talked about gravity and so on. Actually, Galileo had before that, almost 100 years before that, demonstrated something which was very spectacular. People believed that a heavier object will fall faster than a lighter object. And Galileo, for the first time, actually took up some things on top of the Tower of Pisa and dropped them, and found that they dropped at the same time, irrespective of the mass or weight of the object. This itself was surprising. Almost 100 years later, Newton kind of started looking at the explanation, and he talked about this gravitational theory and the force of attraction and the apple falling. So let me get the story back to you. So it is said that Newton saw that apple fall, and then it occurred to him that this is a universal gravitational force which is there between that apple and earth, which is between the earth and the moon, and the sun and the earth, and so on and so forth. This thing. Now, I assume most of you are in class 9, 10, whatever, and therefore have done class 8 physics. In class 8 physics, they would have told you how much time does the apple take to fall from the tree to the earth. So let us say the height of the apple in the apple tree is, let's say, 16 feet. So you know the formula is h is equal to half gt squared. In FPS, g is 32 feet per second squared. And if I'm saying 16 feet as the height, then 16 is equal to half gt squared. So the time taken for the apple to fall from a height of 16 feet would be 1 second. Very nice. If this thing was at 12 feet, what would be the height be? It will be 12 is equal to 16 gt squared, therefore square root 3 upon 2. Square root 3 is 1.732, therefore 0.866 seconds. What if the tree was apple was at an 8-foot height? Then it would be 8 is equal to 16 gt squared, and 8 upon 16, 1 upon 2, square root 1 upon 2, and which is therefore 1.414 divided by 2.707. I did all this to tell you that it is much simpler to calculate the time that it takes for the apple to fall to the earth from a certain height. But this is a thing in physics. But the more difficult question, and the question from biology, is how did the apple get there in the first place? How much time did it take for the apple to go from the ground? Because if Newton is saying everything must fall to the earth, how did the apple go against the gravity force and move up? And how much time did it take from the seed of the apple to the fruit of the apple? This is biology. It is far more difficult than physics, which I could do mental calculation, tell you 1 second, square root 3 upon 2 seconds, half 1 upon root 2 seconds, I could do it mentally instead. But to explain how the tree actually came and how the apple really went up the tree is a much more complex subject of biology. And the entire cycle from seed to tree to fruit to flower to fruit, the whole cycle. And the important question, think over it. Why does only a ripe apple fall and not an unripe? And not only for apple, applies to all fruits. So why do ripe fruits fall under gravity and those which are not ripe yet don't fall? This is biology. It's not easy to answer. And this is why I'm trying to tell you that although we are talking, and I have myself background is physics, so I am from physics, but you realize that physicists only do easy things. It may look to you that physics is very difficult, but in real terms, physicists do only simple things. There used to be a joke about physicists that when a set of farmers had some problem, not this farmer agitation, but they had problem with agriculture, growing crops, their livestock, and so on. Now, mostly farmers have fruits and vegetables and livestock. Sometimes they have chicken and cows and all this kind of thing. So they went to some of the brilliant physicists and asked them to help them solve the problems. So after several months, the physicists came with a report, and the title of the report, the first sentence of the report was, "Let us imagine a spherical cow." Now they imagine a spherical cow because the surface area is 4 pi r square, the volume is 4 upon 3 pi r cube, but no cow is a spherical cow. Real life is very different from the ideals which physicists have been taking and using to solve the problem. They are simple pendulum, this, that, whatever. Point charge, point mass. You don't have a point charge, you don't have a point mass. You will have things else in reality. So biology is very interesting and is actually far more complex than physics. And therefore, it is only now that we are beginning to understand this in some sense. Just to complete the story, many people have a mistaken notion that it is Newton who discovered gravity. Newton did not discover gravity. Newton only discovered a method to calculate the gravitational force. But how does the force occur, why does it occur, etc., was left to Einstein to do in 1915 in his general theory of relativity. There's a 300-year gap between being able to calculate what gravity does and to understand what gravity is. And I'm saying this to basically tell you that the story of finding out things are long stories. And people have to be patient, and sometimes things that we don't know for hundreds of years get resolved, understood, and so on and so forth. And I will kind of, back to the story that now is a moment of biology and we are beginning to understand biology.